Hey y'all. I know, I just noticed that when I put it on. Cheetah print. This scarf. Look like I'm about to do some palm readings. No offense to the palm reading community. Ouch. Whew. Oh, thank you, darlings. Hey to my OVC fam. We're doing a state candidate today from the state of Georgia. Y'all love these Georgians, man. I tell you. The Georgians and the Texans have been dominating our political discussions, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, if we can get you people to the polls, get to the polls, baby. I was just looking at my thing. Where did it go? OneDrive, files. There it is. My hands are a bit ashy. Just a tad bit. All right, let me go ahead and share. Spread the love of OVC to the people. And repost and add it to my. It always cuts off the top of my head. I realize that I have a big head and it cuts it off. Which is probably good for my self-esteem. Maybe not. I don't know. Hey, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome into the OVC Town Hall TikTok Live this afternoon. It is 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I am in Northeast Ohio. We have people from all over the country watching, listening. Our candidate this afternoon, Mishael White, is from the state of Georgia, which has been in the news recently. They got some things going on in the state of Georgia. Some changes to their congressional landscape coming up. Mishael White is running for Georgia's House District 81. So he's running for a state office. And this is his, I believe, his second time running. He said, we didn't get him the first time, we're going to get him the second time. So let's get in here, get him some support, get him some questions, listen to his platform, his ideas for the state of Georgia. These state offices are proving pretty important, more important than people perhaps understood prior to last year. We see that a lot of the changes being made at the state level with SNAP programs and Medicaid programs and requirements. People are starting to take notice that these things can be changed at the state level. Yes, because the state controls the money. Once they receive the money from the House, from the congressional budget, once they receive their appropriation, they are responsible for who gets what, when they get it, how they receive it, what the requirements are for receiving it. So who you vote for at the state house, the representative, the Senate, the governor, all of those people play a role in how you receive your benefits. So if you're on Medicaid or SNAP, these state elections are very important, but also if you have any kind of local court issue, right? Child support, alimony, child custody issues, all of those laws are decided by your state representatives and your governor. All of them. All of them. So when people say their vote doesn't matter, that is absolutely not true. These state elections are very important. They're as important or even more important than the federal, because the federal does not control your day-to-day life. The state does. Mishael White, hello.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, how do I? Okay, let's see. Uh,
I know you're not new to TikTok, sir. There you
well,
are.
yeah, I post, but I've never done a live before. Okay, you can see me now.
Yes, I can see you. You
Okay,
want to? Did you want to be that close to the
no,
camera?
that's what I was trying to figure out. How do I? Let me see. How
I
do
mean, you
I?
can
Oh,
be. You can be if
no,
that's what you want.
I definitely want to change the aspect. I just don't know how. Let me see. Okay, it says shrink. Okay, is that better? Yeah, I
That's
think that's
better. I just didn't want people to have to look at your forehead the whole time. Not that it's not a lovely forehead. You have a lovely
right.
forehead.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll keep that in mind.
So you're just going to have me for today. I'm doing this
Okay.
all by myself. My name is Ayana, and
Okay.
I'm one of the moderators for OVC. We do have someone who is controlling the live. We call them the host.
Okay.
And I'm going to be asking you some questions, and we're also going to take questions from the audience.
Right.
Oh, you know what?
Hmm.
Are you stationary? You're not moving, right?
No, I'm not moving.
Okay, because sometimes TikTok will look at you being in a car and go,
Oh,
but
really? Oh, yeah. Like if you're driving.
you're not driving, and it looks like you're
Oh.
in the passenger seat.
Well, no, I'm in the driver's seat, but I'm not driving. I'm parked before I go to work.
Okay, okay. Did you receive a background from us?
I believe I did. Kind of the show, the flow of show. I believe it is. That what you're talking about?
No, it was just a graphic for you to use.
Oh no, I didn't receive one.
You didn't receive one. Okay. They said that they sent you one, but do you have
I can look in my
he could have used any I mean, you could use any photo that's appropriate as long as they don't see the background. You could use a photo of your family.
So how do I do that? Do I guess
Okay. You click on your picture, right? You click on where you are,
okay.
and then it'll pop up and it says effects.
Okay, hold up. I turn the camera around. Okay, yeah, so I see effects.
Okay, you're gonna, where it sees all the different filters and stuff you can use, you're gonna scroll all the way to the, I guess it would be to the right. Scroll all the way to the right, and you'll see one that's a green, and it's a
Oh,
green
like an arrow.
background
Okay.
with the arrow. Okay, click on that. And
Okay.
then you can choose any photo as a background. If you don't
Okay.
have the background that we sent you, you can choose any photo as your background. You see how mine is
All right.
green?
Yeah. Okay, let me see. What do I want to use really quickly? Um, hmm. I guess I'll use this one. I guess I'll use that. Hold on, let me see. I gotta turn my car. It's getting hot in here. All right. Uh. Mm, that's that one. Mm.
Do you have a picture of a flower or a tree?
Okay, no. I think I got something. I think I have something.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna use this that I have.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. That is
All
perfect.
right.
That is
Okay.
perfect. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm welcoming people in. Welcome into the OVC Live. Mishael, I don't know if you have ever participated in a live, not been on a panel, but participated, and you know how to share the live to your followers?
I see the share arrow. Is that what I do? Just click the
Yes.
arrow.
Click on the arrow, and then a list of your friends comes up, and you just kind
Okay.
of go down the line and share with your folks. You can
Okay.
also repost and add it to your story.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm doing now. Mm,
Also, if you're coming in to support the OVC Town Hall, please send us your Daily Heart Me. Support our account. The Daily Heart Me is only one coin, one small coin. You know, the United States government has stopped making the penny, but you can still use one coin here on TikTok to send your Daily Heart Me.
okay. Now I'm trying to repost it.
You see the yellow
Uh,
yellow repost button.
hold on. Let me try it again. Yeah. Normally I don't see it on here. I see copy link. Um, copy to my clipboard. I don't know why the.
That's okay. If you don't have it, that's okay. Do you see something that says add to story?
No, I don't see that either. Okay, let me look at options. It gave me more options. Let me see. Um,
The TikTok Live Town Hall tutorial. If you're new to TikTok Live,
yeah, I'm new to. Yeah, I'm new to TikTok. I'm not very tech savvy to begin with, so
that's okay. That's all right.
uh, I apologize. So let me see. I don't see. You know what? I don't see it. I did share it to about 15 people though, but I don't see.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. I can share it to Facebook. It gave me a.
I love it when the old people come on to TikTok and it's their first time using it and all the buttons.
What y'all? This is what the young whippersnappers are into in this
No,
day, right?
I'm an old person, but I'm on TikTok every single day, so I
Right.
am very familiar with.
So
I probably
you up to
spend too
speed.
much time here. If I asked my phone, it would tell me I spend too much time here. But
Right.
so all right, everybody who's come into the to the room, make sure you like the live, like it as many times as possible. Just hit tap the screen. If you're down in the chat, please tap the screen for us so we can get our likes up and so we can get on the FYP. We do have a live goal that is the Daily Heart Me. We need 5 more of those. While we're talking to Mishael White, if you have any questions for him, he is again running for office in the state of Georgia. If you have any questions for him, you may leave them in the chat or you can hit the guest request button. That's the 2 little people at the bottom, and you can come up and ask him your question all by yourself. Have the courage, people. Have the courage. Come on up and ask him the questions. Again, he's running for state office in Georgia. We're going to be talking about education, jobs, economics, healthcare, all the things, voting, constituents. So you'll want to stick around and hear what he has to say. My name is Ayana. I'm your only moderator for today. Nobody wanted to work with me. I'm kidding. Kidding. We've been doing these all week. We do so many of them that sometimes it's just going to be one of us because we have so many grassroots candidates running for office. This is what we're about. We're about pushing the names and platforms of grassroots candidates. Our Vote Counts is a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Remember, your vote is your power. This afternoon, we are joined by Mishael White, candidate for Georgia's House District 81. We'll be talking about his background, his vision for the district, and of course, taking your questions live. Mishael built his career as a truck driver and real estate investor, gaining firsthand insight into the struggles of working families and the challenges of building financial stability in today's economy. And now he's asking for his district's vote for the state house. Mishael, for those meeting you for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run for office?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's always good when you get to talk about the issues that you care about and to speak with constituents, future constituents, and voters. My name is Mishael White, State House District 81 candidate. I'm a second-time candidate. I ran in 2024. I'm also a Fighting 50 candidate. They recruited me. The Fighting 50 is a PAC that's whose goal is to find Democrats who are willing to run in traditionally conservative, red, or blue shifting districts. And so they recruited me. I've been married to my high school sweetheart for 24 years. We have 6 beautiful children. I have 3 boys, 3 girls. My oldest is 25. My youngest is 16. I'm a blue collar guy, a working guy, and so the things that I focus on with my campaign is the issues that working people care about, and specifically in this campaign during this election cycle, the thing that I want to convey and that I want people to understand is that working everyday people have something to say. Typically, when we think about politics, when we think about candidates, when we think about people who are running for office, we're thinking about attorneys, doctors, lawyers, or these legacy politicians. And working class people many times get overlooked. And so as a working class guy myself, I know what it is to sit at the kitchen table and look at my bank statement and see what I have coming in versus what I have going out, and then thinking to myself, how am I going to keep a roof over our head and keep food on the table? And so that's really been the impetus for me running and seeking this office. And so I want working class, regular, everyday people to know that I am going to represent and fight for them and carry their voices with me to the state house when I'm elected next November.
All right. So you have to go through a primary. Do you know the date of the primary?
No, not yet. I believe it's going to be sometime in May.
Okay.
And when it comes to the primary cycle, we're going to cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay.
But I'll just be honest with you. I never stopped campaigning. Like I said, I started running in 2024, and I've just continued going on. And you know, when people talk about the election last time, I kind of tell them, look, hey, I don't view it like I lost. I ran out of time, and so even with the way that shaked out, I just kept doing what I was doing. I never stopped talking to folks, never stopped going to events, never stopped being on the ground in the community, talking to residents, finding what they care about and what their concerns are. And so when it comes to the primary, I'm the candidate to beat. Everyone is going to have to is going to have to match my energy if they want to secure that Democratic nomination. I may have challenges, but I don't think I'm going to have much competition.
All right, I like that. Thank you. That was a good introduction. All right. So, Mishael, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from listening to younger voices? You have 6 kids. I know they have voiced their opinion about politics and running for office. What is the biggest lesson you've learned from listening to them?
Well, the biggest lesson I've learned is that these youngsters, they're smarter than what we give them credit for when it comes to civic engagement, when it comes to how things work in society, when it comes to understanding what they may or may not be uh, looking forward to as they grow into adulthood and have to start, as they would put it, adulting, paying bills, finding work, and things of that nature. And they know that something isn't right. They may not can't quite put their finger on it, but they know that in some way, shape, form, or fashion, the system is rigged, and it's not rigged in their favor. And so this can either go one of two ways. For some, they may lean into the process, be more involved, look to spark change. And then you have some who draw back, may become more distant, may become more cynical about the process. And so, what I can tell you is that one of the things that we do need to do as candidates, as politicians, is speak to that particular demographic. Because look, they're the ones who are going to have to inherit the choices that we are making today. So, if you look at something like defunding the Department of Education, they're the ones who are going to have to deal with that in the long term. See, these things are being put in place now, but the actual full force of the effects may not be felt for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And so they are aware of that. And I enjoy having conversations with a Gen Z and Gen Alpha and actually listening to them, and every now and then getting some tech advice on how do I make a graphic, how do I use Facebook, how does this stuff work, you young whippersnapper. So they are smarter than what we give them credit for.
All right. I like that response. Thank you. So we're going to jump right into the questions. These are about economic development. Now, I'm not familiar with the district that you serve. Can you tell us what counties or major
Yes,
cities that covers?
yes, that's it's Henry County, McDonough, Locust Grove area. You have now some of the precincts there are Kellytown, Lake Dow, Mount Bethel, Lake Haven. It's a growing district. Henry County is one of the fastest growing counties in Georgia. And one of the things that we're known for in that particular part of the of the state is traffic. You know, traffic gets really bad because there's just so much growth, so many people moving in, and a lot of what's causing that is people are looking for affordability. Quiet as it's kept, they're looking for affordable housing. They're looking for affordable property taxes, things of that nature. So that's pretty much the general area.
Okay. Now, you've emphasized the importance of investing in small businesses and working families. What specific steps would you take to help local entrepreneurs and small business owners access funding and compete in Georgia's growing economy?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's also something else about myself. I'm a small business owner myself. I'm a part owner of a restaurant in Stockbridge, which is in Henry County. Showtime Kitchen and Lounge. If anyone who's in the chat watching this and you want something to eat, swing by. We'll take care of you. And I've already began those steps of talking to our small business owners in the district. Right there in Locust Grove, we just had a lovely couple that I had an opportunity to meet. They came in, purchased leased a storefront and opened up a hardware store. And so I had the conversation with them. What if, when I'm elected, what would you like to see me do as your state representative to help you be successful as a small business owner who's looking to have your share of the American dream. And the first thing they told me was, look, we need to streamline the process. We had to go through a lot of paperwork, a lot of hurdles to even get to the point to where we could actually open up operations and start trying to turn a profit. Some of the other things that I'm doing, I am a member of the Henry County Chamber of Commerce, and we have these conversations all the time. We have workshops on small business development, things of that nature. One of the other things that I would be looking to do is have conversations in relation and build relationships with our Henry County Board of Commissioners, our chairwoman, Carlotta Harrell, who is doing an outstanding job leading the county, leading economic development in the county, and finding, hey, Chairwoman Carlotta Harrell, what can I do as state representative to help our small businesses here in Henry County get access to funding so they can have operation capital, they can have startup capital? How could I formulate a bill to help with reducing their tax load? And this is something that we also don't hear. And what's funny is there's Republicans in the state right now are looking to expand the definition of what constitutes a small business. Which I'm not necessarily against that, but one of the things that we don't do is we don't talk about micro businesses. And our micro businesses, they also have a stake in this as well. Many of them have employees too. And so one of the things that I would be looking to do is how can we reduce the cost sensitivity for our micro business owners? We've seen with the Trump administration and their wrong-headed policy when it comes to tariffs, and how these tariffs, maybe a small business is technically classified as small business, but they have an operation where there's 300 employees, they can absorb a tariff cost. But if you're a micro business owner who may have 3 employees and you're scraping to make sure that you turn a profit and can still pay yourself a salary and pay your staff, then a tariff can totally come and just destroy what you're trying to do. So those are some of the things that I would be looking to do. I am actively in the process of doing those things, talking to small business owners, talking to our micro business owners, and building relationships with the Henry County Chamber of Commerce, Chairwoman Carlotta Harrell, and our Board of Commissioners to make sure we can implement policies, find funding for our small business owners in Henry County.
Great. And we did have a question in the chat about whether your district covers Stockbridge.
No, it doesn't. My district doesn't cover Stockbridge. It's pretty much the McDonough, Locust Grove area. But here's the good thing about that. When you're a state rep, even though I have a specific district that I represent, anything that I pass, anything that I support, it affects the entire state.
Correct.
That's my job as a state representative. Is we go there to set the state budget. We determine what dollars go where. And what I can tell you is rest assured that when I'm there at the state house, at the state capitol, I'm going to be fighting to make sure Henry County at large, but also my district, is getting our fair share of state dollars to do the things that we need to do and to serve our constituents.
Absolutely. I asked that because a couple weeks ago, right before the election, we had Jaden Williams on our program, and we interviewed him, and he talks about some of the small business accomplishments he wanted to bring to Stockbridge. And we said, well, when you win, you'll be doing that. And he won. And so we're looking forward to see what
he's one of those bright-eyed, very smart Gen Z,
yes,
who's leaning into the process. I know Jaden quite well, and I look forward to working with him as mayor of Stockbridge so we can continue to grow the economic base of Henry County.
Correct. I see. I don't see anybody in the queue. We had somebody in the queue.
Okay.
And then they there they are again. They're back. Oh, Rasta. Mr. Rasta lives in Atlanta.
Okay.
Hey, Rasta, how you doing?
Fine, how are you? Now, nice to see your beautiful self. Now I do know, and if correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Michelle, parts of Stockbridge is considered here Henry County, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so you will still have a possibility and to work with Jaden, correct?
absolutely.
Okay, so with that being said, what are some of the ideals that you can take to Jaden to help you show that parts of Henry County needs funding to help this your constituents?
You said what are some of the ideas?
Yes, that you would
Uh,
take to the house with you.
right. The first thing would be putting together events and town halls to kind of bring Mayor Jaden Williams with people from the Henry County Chamber of Commerce, maybe some of my business partners. And my restaurant is right there. My restaurant is in the heart of Stockbridge. Um, and all concerned and interested parties, and we come together. Hey, let's have a town hall, let's have a symposium, let's put our heads together and figure out what do we need to be doing to get dollars allocated for Henry County, including Stockbridge. Now, in order to be effective at doing this, is going to require us to have a united front. And how as your state representative, Mayor Jaden Williams, what are some of the things, what are some of the ideas that you have that I can put into this bill to work with my fellow Democrats in the state capitol and even fellow Republicans and say, look, we need this amount of dollars allocated so that we can disperse it uh, to some of our cities in Henry County so it can matriculate down to our small business owners. So in order to get something like that done, it's going to require us to come together and have conversations and build consensus on how a bill like that is presented so we can get it passed. So it's just going to be about actually listening and bringing people together. And I have full confidence in Mayor Jaden Williams that he's not only willing to do that, he's able to do that. And when I'm elected, we're going to get it done.
Thank you so much for your answer. I greatly appreciate it, and good luck on your campaign. And hopefully you'll be. I'm not going to say hopefully, you will. There's
Absolutely.
a change coming. All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye,
Thank you.
Thank you, Ronald. All right. So you've discussed improving roads, bridges, and community infrastructure in Henry County. How would you ensure those investments lead to economic growth and better wages for the residents of your district?
Um, Again, it's talking to all interested parties right there. I'll give you a good example of what I'm talking about. There's a Peaksville Road in Henry County. That's right there in Locust Grove. It runs into Highway 42. Now, Peaksville Road is a two-lane highway, country road, but in that area, there's a small thriving business area right there. Matter of fact, when I was speaking on the couple who came and opened a hardware store, it's right there off of Peaksville. Now, here's the thing with that. One of the projects that was slated by the former representative who was in that seat before the Republican now was to expand Peaksville and to so that it could accommodate more traffic flow, right? And so when I was campaigning in 2024, I went business to business, having conversations with those business owners, talking to them about the expansion of Peaksville Road and how would you like to see us expand this road where it won't interrupt your business, where it won't disturb your business. Look, we all know how tumultuous a roadway project can be, especially when you're talking about expanding a two-lane road into a four-lane road. And so I went business to business having those conversations. First, letting them know, like, look, there's going to be an expansion of this roadway coming up. And look here, I only see one way in and out of your business. What can I do as your state representative to work with GDOT in Henry County so that we're not disrupting or disturbing your flow of business, right? And so again, it's going to be talking to the actual business owners who are on the ground in these areas where infrastructure is actively being altered, which we know in the long run is going to be great. But in the interim, how do we make sure we're not disrupting your flow and volume of customers? And so that's just one example of some of the things that I would be looking to do. Again, having those conversations, being a conduit of information from small business owners to GDOT, to the Henry County Board of Commissioners. And when we're putting together these roadway projects to expand the infrastructure, making sure we're doing it in a way that's not disrupting our existing small businesses in those areas.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, Moving on to maternal health and family health care in the general health care and health questions realm. Women's healthcare has been in the news a lot lately. We've seen some stories about women who have had to give birth in unusual circumstances, and those have been Black women. And a lot of African American women feel as though our maternal health is in jeopardy in the United States. What do you see yourself doing at the state level to help ensure that health outcomes for all women are ensured?
Well, I can give you an example right now. Back in September, I had a maternal mortality town hall at Victory Tabernacle International right there in Kellytown, which is in the district. Bishop Strickland and his wife were gracious enough to allow us to use their sanctuary. I had advocates from various organizations right here in Georgia. I also had the mayor of McDonough, Mayor Sandra Vincent. She was in attendance, and we had that conversation, that town hall, discussing the maternal mortality issue here in Georgia. One of the things that Governor Kemp and other Republicans in the state love to run around and tout is how Georgia is the number one place for business, but it's not the number one state for families, Governor. It's not the number one state for maternal health. And then, where, with that being the reality, we are faced with the actual rollout of this disastrous bill that congressional Republicans forced down the throat of the American people at the behest of Donald Trump, that we know is going to have an adverse effect on a already fragile healthcare system in places like Georgia. Much of the district of District 81 is rural. It's rural. And so when you're looking at maternal health and you look at what are some of the main causes of the maternal mortality crisis, access and expediency to healthcare is an issue. We saw this. You mentioned that how this was just in the news with Black women. We all saw and were horrified by the video of this young Black woman who's in obvious distress, who's having a medical emergency, while a nurse practitioner, apparently oblivious or either indifferent to her suffering, is just casually taking her time, keying in her information. So one of the things that we have to do is make sure we are making access to maternal healthcare services expedient, because time is of the essence in those instances, right? Matter of fact, some of the other things I would be looking to do at the state capitol, you have Representative Imani Barnes, and she has House Bill 149, which is the Healthy Mothers Now Act, which is one of those. The focus of that bill is to increase the expediency of the healthcare services. So it's not just about access, it's about expediency of access, urgency of access. Now, what I can tell you, I looked at the bill. Now, I'm not even elected yet, but you can already see I take this very serious. So I looked at the bill, and there were two things that perturbed me about the bill. The first thing is that Representative Imani Barnes and all of the other co-sponsors on the bills were Democrats.
Ah.
So I don't like that, because Republicans, where y'all at? Y'all are the party of pro-life. I don't see any Republican co-sponsors on that bill. And the other thing that stood out to me that I also found that troubled me was there were no males who are co-sponsors of that bill. So why is it only women Democratic state representatives who are co-sponsoring this bill? Where are the Republicans and where are the men? This is not just an issue about women. This is a community issue. Look, I have 3 grandchildren. Matter of fact, I have 5 grandchildren. I have 3 daughters. And so even in my own personal life, I have to think about access to maternal care services and expediency of access to maternal care services. And so one of the things that I am going to do, and I have been actively reaching out to Representative Imani Barnes, is when I am elected, I would love to be a co-sponsor on that bill. Let's make that bill more robust. Let's expand it, but it is a good starting point to really begin to address with teeth the maternal mortality crisis right here in Georgia. And I think if we're able to get that done, then the good thing about that is it becomes a model for what other states can do to address that issue, because it's a national issue, but Georgia is one of the worst states.
And you mentioned that your district is mostly rural, and Georgia is one of the states that has been negatively impacted by the Medicaid rollbacks after the C-19 funds ran out, and the lack of, I would guess you would say, expediency in ensuring that more people receive health care services, no matter where they live, in the city, in the suburbs, or the rural areas. And now we're seeing more hospitals and clinics being affected by closures because of the big, beautiful bill removing funding for Medicaid and also Medicare in the future. How do you see yourself working across the aisle with Republicans to ensure that more funding reaches these areas so that they don't lose critical care services?
Well, one of the main things I'm going to do to work with Republicans across the aisle is talk to their constituents. I'm going to bypass the middleman. Let's have the conversation with their constituents so the constituents can see how the policies that are being pursued adversely and negatively impact them in real time on the ground, right? And so by us having that conversation, not only with Democratic voters or with independents, but also with Republicans who made themselves be stomped down MAGA, right? But having that conversation with them and informing them, if we can talk to the people, then that will put pressure on Republicans to, hey, maybe we need to look at expanding Medicaid, expanding Medicare, because this is harming our constituents. And if we continue to do this, it's going to, the blowback is going to be tremendous. They're aware of this. They know this. This is one of the reasons why Donald Trump himself has been trying to rig the 2026 midterms. Now that's on a national level, but it still plays itself out on a state level, because I can tell you, I'm in Congressional District 10, which covers all of District 81, even those rural areas. And I have not seen Congressman Mike Collins have one town hall about the big, beautiful bill and its effects when it comes to access to health care, because they know what it is. So he don't want to talk to him, I will.
Yeah, and they just had an 8-week vacation, so he had the time.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah, plenty of time. So, moving on to public education in schools, you've spoken about increasing investment in public schools and technical education How would
Mhm.
you ensure equitable funding so that every Georgia student, regardless of their zip code, has access to quality teachers and learning resources?
Again, just talking to folks. I last year, well, earlier this year, matter of fact, I had the opportunity to be a part of Henry County School Board's Leadership Academy. It's basically an 8-week program, and you go through the program and you see at the various stages in various areas of the school board system and what it takes to actually make the school board system operate and be functional. And I had the opportunity to visit a facility in Henry County. It's not in my district, but it still covers my district. And it's the Henry County Learning and Support Center. And I had the opportunity to tour that facility, an amazing facility with an amazing staff. And I remember specifically at the time I had a conversation with the executive director. Now this facility, it provides services from food pantry to healthcare services. They have healthcare physicians who are on call, who are on staff that can deal with vaccinations if a child or even a parent is sick and may not have uh, health insurance. They can come there and they can get treated, things of that nature. So it's a really a good thing. And so I had a conversation with the executive director, and she told me, like, look, with the things that Doge is doing, and with these cuts to the Department of Education, we are on pins and needles right now because we don't know if we're going to get the funding that we've been getting for the last few years. And I remember she told me we get about $8 million in grants annually to be able to operate um, this facility. And so having that conversation with her, having a conversation with my school board member, Dr. Pam Nutt. I'm in District 1. That's who my school board member is. Going to the school board meetings, hearing about, okay, what is the budget, right? The millage rate. Probably look, this is something that a lot of people don't realize, because this is an issue in my district in Henry County, where people are looking at, hey man, my property taxes are going up. And I'm like, yeah, your property taxes
Yeah.
are going up because you have state Republicans and congressional Republicans who are stripping funding away from public education. So,
That's
so
happening in Ohio where I live.
yeah, so your school board is going to, and they're going to have to make up for that. They're either going to have to cut back on services that are being provided to our children, or they're going to have to find other ways to make up that shortfall. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to look for ways to make up that shortfall, which means an uptick in your property taxes. So again, it's having those conversations uh, with all interested and invested parties, and then talking to parents, talking to voters, talking to constituents about, look, these are the issues, these are the way these things are connected, and now that we know how it's working, how do we make sure we make it work better and make it more robust? And so, again, I'm going to be a state representative who is very active, very approachable, and have those conversations with interested parties to get something done.
So the big beautiful bill, we've talked about this a lot, and it has, and Doge have
Right.
both resulted in the loss of grant funding, but also in Job Corps.
Yeah,
I don't know how popular that is in the state of Georgia, but in the state of Ohio, it's very popular. Now,
absolutely.
we know that it could lead to people going to college, but college is not for everyone. How do you see your state of Georgia filling in for what the federal government has removed? Do you think that high schools should invest more in technical programs, vocational programs? You think the state should do that for people who don't necessarily have an interest in a 2-year or 4-year university?
Well, again, I think that's a thing where we need all hands on deck. I think we need a multi-pronged approach to that. Because look, you're right. Everyone is not going to be a Rhodes Scholar, right? Everyone is not going to be an academic. and that's fine. And look, me myself, I'm only in the position I'm in today because I was able to take advantage of some type of technical program to gain a skill that I could parlay into a livelihood, so I can take care of of a family, right? And that was possible because someone somewhere thought it was important and made sure that that was there. And so again, I think we need to do it from a state level. I think we need to do it from a local level, whether we're getting the high schools involved. And I think we need to, if you have, matter of fact, there's a young lady out of, now she's in DeKalb County, but her and I have had conversations, and she's over an organization, African American Women Truckers. And so because my background is in trucking, that's kind of my expertise. I am looking forward to working with her on helping her to get funding for this technical program. That now this is just a private citizen. This isn't she's not some huge gigantic organization with a bunch of money, but she sees a need and she's looking to address that need of African American women who want to get into the trucking industry. And so I'm going to be working with her to see how we can get funding for her program to make that program more robust. So there are alternatives. Now, if we're talking about post-secondary education, things of this nature, one of the things I would like to see us do as a country is make access to post-secondary education more affordable. I don't think that everything that we do as a civil society should be subject to profit. I think we have to step back as a nation and look. Hey, when we make when we make the process of developing our human capital more easily, then that makes our nation better. It makes our nation better. Like, you think about it like this: like if we're talking to someone who may be against this idea of student loan forgiveness, for example, right? So, well, look, if you're someone who's on a flight somewhere, a 5-hour flight, and there's a medical emergency, and the first thing people are going to want to know is there a healthcare professional on this plane. Think about that. Now that's not an economic thing, but it's a moral thing. It's something where it still adds value to our society. And so we would want to make access to help to education, post-secondary education, so people can improve themselves and gain a skill. We should be doing that. We should be doing that. So everything we do as a civil society shouldn't be about just making money. So that's my view on those things. I would be looking to have those conversations again with all interested parties to form consensus. Let's put a bill together. Let's find Republicans we can work with. Let's make sure we have the votes, and let's get this done. I look forward to doing that when I'm elected state representative for House District 81.
That's awesome. Thank you for that response. Now I'm going to ask you some political rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Yes or no, this answer or that answer. There's no right answer, just whatever comes to mind. Okay. Do you prefer debate stage or town hall?
Debate stage.
All right. Vote early or vote on election day?
Vote early.
Okay. Do you enjoy political podcasts or political books or political movies?
Podcast.
Podcast. Okay. Let's see. Term limits for representatives, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Do you follow Supreme Court decisions closely?
No, maybe not as closely as I should.
Okay. Let's see. Which do you think is better, a protest march or a letter to your representative?
I would say a protest march.
Okay.
Let's do it big.
And finally, Political satire, is it hilarious or harmful?
Hilarious.
Hilarious. I totally agree. All right. Next category. It's always making me lose my spot here. Let's see. You are for building safer neighborhoods, but that requires strong relationships between residents and law enforcement. What would you do to strengthen those relationships and promote transparency and accountability within local police departments?
Again, having those conversations.
You just gonna be talking.
Yeah, talking to our talking to our police officers, talking to our police chiefs and captains and things of that nature. Bringing people together. Bringing constituents together, having town. Like I said, I'm going to be very active and involved in the actual process of representing the district. Representing the district from my vantage point, it's considered part time, but for me, I look at it as a full time job. Like, I'm always on call. I should always be talking to someone about some issue that we can better address in the community. And look, I'm not one of these individuals who believes in qualified immunity. I don't get qualified immunity as a truck driver, right? I do my job, and I have to make sure I do it well if I want to continue to work in that field. So I do believe that we should have things in place where we're holding bad police officers accountable. Now, with that being said, I do think that we should honor and show respect to our men and women in uniform who put their lives on the line every day. I tell people all the time, I like police. When I'm out making a delivery, when I'm at work, I don't feel less safe when I see police officers. I feel more safe when I see police officers. So again, we'd be having those conversations, having those events, talking to Sheriff Scandrick. That's the sheriff of Henry County, making sure I have a relationship with him, making sure I have a relationship with our mayors, right? Bring constituents together and look, let's figure this out. If there's some issue that's going on where residents feel like police are being heavy-handed or are going a bit too far, we can have those conversations and let's figure out solutions.
Okay, thank you. Now, from severe weather to public health emergencies, Georgia communities face a variety of threats. What steps would you take to improve coordination and preparedness among state and local agencies?
Absolutely. Well, again, that's an infrastructure component to that, right? Look where I live. Like I said, much of the district is rural, so you have in certain parts of the district you have the tornado siren alarm system. Right now, if I was to be honest, when I ride by, it looks like it needs to be updated. It looks like it needs to be, it can
rub
use
some of the rust off.
yeah, it look like it's been. I'm like, man, how long has this thing been here? Right. So that would be, again, talking to my board of commissioners, talking to my county chairwoman. Maybe if I see something, I say something here at this particular intersection, at this road. This siren alarm system needs to be updated. Look like it's been there since the 1950s. Things of that nature. So it would be the state working together with the local municipalities and having a infrastructure in place to where we can get those warnings out fast when there's some type of emergency. You have the hero units who deal with things that happen on the roadway. Do we need to look at increasing their funding so they can better do what they do when it comes to sectioning off an accident or a water main leak or anything that may cause some type of disruption in in the community or in the state somewhere. So again, I would make sure I have relationships with people across the aisle at different levels of government, state government, local government, municipalities. And look, what can I do as state representative to make sure we have a tightly woven web of information to make sure we're dealing with emergencies in a smart and fast way.
And now you are a truck driver and a dad and a granddad, so you've probably spent thousands of hours in traffic, right?
Man, yeah.
Heavy traffic is also a safety issue. If there is an emergency, the ambulances can't get through, the fire trucks can't get through. What is your proposal? Because I've seen you talk about this on your social media. What is your proposal for dealing with this increasing traffic nightmare that your district seems to be faced with?
We need alternative transit. That's one of the things. If we can develop some type of alternative transit to get less to get more vehicles off the road. If someone can take a bus, maybe if you wherever you're going, maybe however we will put it together. Maybe if you have to go about 20 miles somewhere, maybe you can hop on a Henry County transit bus and get there instead of getting in your car. That takes a vehicle off the road. One of the other things that I've talked about is look at what I can tell you as a trucker is most truckers, we don't really want to do a lot of driving during the day if we can help it. We would prefer to drive at night because it's an open road. There's less things we got to deal with. We don't have to deal with traffic. But one of the things that I have noticed right there in Henry County by exit 24, that's when it really gets thick, is a lot of times when you look, it's a bunch of trucks who are headed south, and they're either going to the port, right, in Savannah, or they're going to I-95 somewhere. So one of the things that I've proposed is what I can tell you is right there in that particular stretch of Interstate 75, there's not a lot of truck parking. There's not a lot of easy access for trucks to move around. And if you want to say if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're looking to shut down, maybe you have to shut down by 5 o'clock, but there's nowhere to park. You're going to keep driving. But if we have a place for this truck to park and they're right here, well, then you'll just get off there and you'll be like, you know what, let me go ahead and shut down, get my 10 hours, and I'll get up tonight and drive. That will take trucks off the roadway. That will reduce some congestion. So two of the main things that I would be looking at is making it more accessible for trucks to find places to park and lay over for the night, and alternative transit. And I think if we did those things, that would reduce some of the traffic congestion. Now, the other thing, when it comes to traffic congestion right there in that part of Henry County, is expanding surface roads. I talked about the expansion of Peaksville. There are a lot of back roads and stuff like that in Henry County that are 2-lane that we can look at making 4-lane. So this would give another alternate path for people to get to where they're going. And so that's going to take vehicles, off Interstate 75. So if we can target specific surface streets and surface roads in the area, look to expand those, alternative transit, and opening things up a little bit for tractor trailers to get off the road during rush hour traffic, I think that would make for an easier commute and a safer commute.
All right. We could probably use that in Ohio too.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, there's just a lot of, and I understand trucks is how we get things from A to B now.
Yeah.
So there's but Ohio has a lot of those truck stops, those rest stops.
Right.
A lot more of that to deal with it. And we have invested more in expanding the roadways and making them a lot safer, but still, I mean, there's miles of highway, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is really old.
Yeah.
And if the federal government isn't investing in it, then the state's going to have to invest, but states don't have as much money to invest as the federal government.
Exactly.
So, and I don't know what projects the state of Georgia has benefited from the infrastructure bill. Are you familiar with that?
Not. I am familiar with the infrastructure bill, but I don't know about any specific projects, maybe by name or title. But I know they're doing an expansion on Interstate 285, adding another roundabout but it's an elevated roundabout. So that'll reduce some of the traffic off of Interstate 285, and I'm sure there's others, but right now I can't think of any specifically in the Henry County area where, like what I'm talking about by 2024. Or I think the last thing they did was a few years ago where they put in these express lanes, and what I can tell you about those express lanes is not many people use them. Every time I ride by them, they're empty.
Is that what someone mentioned in the chat? Those are those the peach lanes?
Yeah,
Peach
yeah,
pass
yeah.
lanes?
Yeah, peach pass lanes. Yeah, people are like, you know what? I'll just sit in traffic instead of paying. So that hasn't really panned out and had the effect that they thought it was going to have.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what else, if we have any other questions. Nope, there's somebody in the audience who said her mother lives in your district, and she said if you live in Henry, you're always sitting in traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I see someone said I think the expansion at Turner Church, Turner Church Road, that's in my district. That's one of those surface roads that they're expanding. There are some like I said, some expansion projects that's taking place right there in Henry County. We have to target more surface roads and get that done, and that'll help relieve some of the traffic congestion on Interstate 75.
All right. So now that we're talking about infrastructure and environment, Henry County and surrounding areas are growing rapidly. How would you balance new development with environmental responsibility to prevent overbuilding, again, traffic congestion, and strain on local resources?
Well, look, impact costs. If you're a builder who wants to come in and you want to build some big sprawling subdivision, well, then we're going to have to look at the impact costs that you're going to have to incur for disrupting the environment and upsetting again the residents who are already there. It's my belief that any building or growth that takes place in Henry County, it should match the disposition of that area. So it should be congruent. I remember last year when I was running for office, I was like I said, talking to constituents, and there was a developer who wanted to put in some big, huge subdivision with these overpriced homes right there in Kellytown, and it was coming up for a vote with the zoning board, and so I don't live in that part of the district in Kellytown, but it was important to them, so it was important to me, and so I went to that zoning board meeting, and I did speak and address the board about this proposed development. And now one of the things that the builder was tricky in doing is they tried to characterize it as an eco-friendly development. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, but when you look at the plans and when you look at the schematics, we can see that this is going to be anything but good for the environment.
Did it have solar panels?
Didn't have solar panels or nothing. That's what I'm saying. It was only a name only. It was a clever title that they put on it, but it wasn't going to do. It was the opposite.
Maybe it had low flow. They had low flow toilets. Perhaps that was.
Yeah, right.
There's always some little thing, and they go, "Oh, well, now it's eco-friendly because
exactly.
we use composted toilet paper."
Right, exactly. Clever marketing, and
right.
And so I was there with the community. I mean, I remember it was a massive turnout. You had Republicans there, you had Democrats there, you had white, you had black. The residents didn't want it, and through us, coming together and all saying with one voice no to this oversized development, we were able to get the zoning board to vote no. Now we know that developer is going to go back to the drawing board, but that's the point. Go back to the drawing board, and whatever you want to put together, it has to match the disposition of the actual area that you want to develop. And so, again, I would work with our zoning board of commissioners, constituents, listening to them, and making sure that we are holding these builders accountable when they come with their proposed developments, and making sure that it's not going to disturb the environment or disturb the residents in their way of life.
And one of the hot button issues nowadays is data centers, right?
Yeah.
Data processing centers, they're popping up everywhere.
Mhm.
Amazon and Elon Musk are putting these things everywhere, and people are just like, yes, we want them for the jobs, or no, we don't want them because of the impact on the environment and the area. Are you for or against having data centers in your district?
Well, to be honest with you, if I had to pick, I would say I'm against it, but I'm also a realist and understand that some of this stuff is just going to be necessary. We are quickly becoming a more technologically advanced um, society. So some of this stuff is, it's like AI. It's going to happen. What we have to do is again make sure that it's matching the disposition of the areas where we want to put these things, making sure that we have strong regulations in place to have checks and balances against these data centers. Now, one of the things that we did as a state here in Georgia a couple of weeks ago is we elected two Democrats to the Public Service Commission. This has been a Republican dominated commission since the 90s, if I'm not, no, since the 2000s. And so because what was coming out is that we're finding that the public service commissioners are basically giving sweetheart deals to these data centers when it comes to the Georgia power rates, and then they're making up for it by raising rates on regular citizens. When I was out, because I canvassed for the PSC in my district, and I was out talking to a constituent. It was him and his wife, a regular size home, 3-bed, 2-bath, right? And he was talking to me, and he said, "Man, last month my light bill was $800." He said, "It's just me and my wife." He said, "So I know something is wrong." He said, "I'm definitely going to vote." And those two Democrats, they won their elections in my district by 80%. So again, I think that the rise of data centers is something that we're going to have to deal with, whether we like it or not. The thing that I'm more interested in is how do we make sure we are holding them accountable, and we are not simply seeding these sweetheart deals and benefits to these tech billionaires and tech bros at the expense of everyday working regular people.
I agree. I agree. Because sometimes they bring the data center, but then they import people for the work. They don't hire from the local
Exactly.
community.
Exactly.
So,
Things of that nature, right?
yeah. So what about alternative energy? Are you for solar farms and wind turbines and all of that? Do you believe that that
Absolutely.
benefits your that would benefit your district?
Absolutely. Look, it's just like look, if you're an investor, you know that the thing that really creates a strong investment portfolio is what? Diversify. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Why are we putting all our eggs in the fossil fuel basket? Why are we not being pragmatic and smart and saying, hey, let's put a little in the fossil fuel, let's put a little in solar, let's put a little in wind and some of these other alternative energy sectors. And so as a state, as a state of Georgia, we have a diversified energy portfolio. So look, if there's some type of oil embargo or whatever, if the war in the Middle East and now energy prices go up, oil go up, gas go up. Well, look, we have other alternatives. So I'm definitely for alternative energy options, and that's something that I would support and would fight for as state representative for House District 81.
All right. Now take off your politics hat for just a minute, right?
Right.
I'm going to ask you some fun rapid fire questions based on the state that you live in. All right.
All
These are
right.
all Georgia related. Remember, I'm in Ohio. I
Right.
have no idea about any of these things,
Right.
but I'm kidding, of course.
Okay.
Coca-Cola or sweet tea?
Sweet tea.
Okay. A Braves game or a Falcons game?
Neither.
Or a Bulldogs game?
I'm
Are
a
you a...
Saints fan.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. That's hold on. Let me put my politician hat on. I'm gonna say Falcons.
You took that hat all the way off. You were like, I'm
No.
going to, where's that? Louisiana? Wow. Okay. Fried chicken or barbecue chicken?
Ooh, fried.
Okay. Peaches or pecans?
Peaches.
Peaches. All right. Georgia peanuts or Vidalia onions?
Oh, Georgia peanuts.
Okay.
Boiled with the Cajun.
Now, if I don't ask you this, I'm probably going to get shanked by my people.
Okay.
Waffle House or Chick-fil-A?
Oh, Waffle House.
Okay. Wow, you were easy on these. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we have here? What fascinates you more, Civil War history or civil rights history?
Oh, civil rights history.
Okay. Savannah or Atlanta for a weekend getaway?
Oh, Savannah.
Okay. Let's see. Do you say y'all or you all?
Depends on who I'm talking to and if he's working or not.
I love it. And finally, what is your favorite Georgia landmark?
Stone Mountain.
Stone Mountain?
Yeah.
All right. There was actually a question about that. Stone Mountain or Blue Ridge Mountain, so I guess you'll take Stone Mountain.
I will take Stone Mountain.
Okay. All right. Finally, you have spoken a few times about this being your second race. Can you tell us, comparing your first race to this current race, do you notice any differences? Are you picking up more momentum? What's your feeling about your second race versus the first?
My second race versus the first, yeah, we are picking up more momentum. Right now, I'm approaching my entire fundraising from last time already, and
Wow, good.
hasn't even really started. Yeah, so we definitely have more momentum, more viability, more visibility, and it's just growing as a candidate, really finding my sea legs, and actually, like I said, having those conversations with people I wouldn't ordinarily talk to, and also doing the work of understanding not only what a state rep does, but how to be a state rep, how to package a bill, how to the language that a bill would need to say to maybe pick up some Republican votes, pick up some Democratic votes, right? So the main thing that I have noticed is we have much more momentum than we did last time. I feel really good about the campaign. Like I said, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with, and we fully intend on flipping this seat and giving House District 81 the representation that they deserve.
And when you're out in your communities, in the city and in the rural areas, are you finding people recognize your name and your face?
Yeah. I'll be honest, yes. I have had conversations just doing phone banking and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I seen your sign. Oh yeah, I remember you. Oh yeah, I voted for you. So yeah, the name recognition thing is definitely real. So I have a little bit more name recognition, and it also helps too that I have a funny name. People remember it.
Right. Correct. Last night I was practicing it. I was listening to your videos. I'm like, okay, he says Mishael. I'm like, okay, I have to say it quickly and not draw it out.
Right.
So I know that Democrats can have a hard time out in the rural communities. How do you hope to reach those communities with your message?
Well, just by actually talking to them. Now, this is one of the things I found in 2024. I would go up to some of these doors in these rural parts of the district and kind of like, man, should I go knock on this door or not? It's kind of, I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm on the fence about this. And so I would go knock on it, build up the courage and knock on the door. And And the conversation would just totally blow away any preconceived notion I would have of how the encounter would go. And I actually had people tell me like, "Wow, no one has ever came and talked to me. No one has ever came to my door and found out, what I care about. I'm impressed. I'm going to vote for you just because you took the time to come out here and have this conversation with me because I know you're serious about doing the job." And so, and this time around, that's something that I'm going to double down and triple down on. I'm going to go even harder when it comes to talking to constituents in the rural part of the district and look like, hey, I'm Mishael White, and this is what I'm looking to do for you and for your family, and to show them that, hey, we have more in common than not if we actually sit here and have a conversation with one another. And so I'm fully confident in our messaging. I'm fully confident in our approach and in our game plan when it comes to constituent and voter outreach.
So when you're out in these communities, what's the one overarching issue that people are most concerned about? Do people say the economy? Do they say immigration? What's the one issue that you cite as the most frequent that you're hearing from people?
Infrastructure.
Okay.
Infrastructure. Now it has changed a little bit because we've had a lot of things going on nationally with the Trump administration and the big beautiful bill. But there's a lot of unease, so it has been being interspersed with conversations on Social Security, healthcare, Medicaid cuts, things of that nature. But the main thing that I've heard the most has been infrastructure, traffic. The people are concerned with all of the growth and development. They don't want their way of lives being disturbed, and they don't want too much overgrowth. They don't want to feel like they have people living on top of them, and I don't blame them.
Correct. And just listening to you this afternoon, you have had a plan for all of those things.
Right.
So listening to you talk about your plans for the state and your district and what the people are saying they're most concerned about, you would think, okay, he's not going to have any trouble winning then. He should win handily. But then when people go for the primary elections and the general elections, the voters are not showing up, especially for midterms, off-year elections. What is your plan to get people to the polls? How do you suppose that you can get people to show up, even with early voting and mail-in ballots? How do you plan to get people to the polls?
By connecting with them, and in doing that, it requires us to listen. I think as like I said, as working people, as regular everyday people, we are used to being pandered to or being lectured to. But we're not really used to having people listen to us. Genuinely listening and understanding that we have a stake in any and everything that's going on in our local body politic. What's going on locally, what's going on nationally. So my plan is to connect with voters, with constituents. Showing myself to them like, hey, I know how you feel. I know that you get out of your bed every day and you go out there in the world and you bust your butt and you feel like you're not getting ahead while no one listens to you. While we see activists on the right and crusaders on the left get into these shoving matches over things that don't amount to a hill of beans when it comes to improving your quality of life. And if you trust me, if you believe in me, if you help me, if you vote for me, then what I can guarantee you is that every day I get up and get out of my bed, I'm going to go to that state house and that state capitol thinking about you. And so it's about having those conversations with voters and showing them that I'm as real as they come. I am who I say I am.
And I think that you've shown that, showing people how your presence at the state level and the decisions that you make directly impact their day-to-day life. I think that when people see that, well, when we pass this bill and it gets to the governor and it passes into a law, this is how it affects your everyday life. And I think people feel disconnected from that. they don't really understand it, whether it's, they don't have time to think about it or it doesn't make sense to them. When you break it down for them and you say, okay, this bill is for this particular thing and this is how it's going to impact you and this is why it is needed right now, then they understand it and perhaps that might get them to the polls. I'm not sure, but I think that you do a very good job of showing them, this is who I am and this is how it's going to affect you if I'm elected.
Exactly, absolutely. So like I said, I'm confident in our messaging, confident in our game plan, and I look forward to election day in May, and I look forward to election day in November. I know that we are going to be victorious.
So, are there a lot of others competing for this particular spot, this race?
No, not right now. It's shaping up to where it appears it's going to be a rematch between me and the Republican I ran against in 2024, which I'm excited about. I'm excited at the prospect of having a rematch. I feel like Rocky. Rocky didn't get it the first time, but he got Apollo Creed the second time. So I kind of lean on the Rocky theme heavy when it comes to that.
Can you tell the people what sets you apart from your the person you're running against, the incumbent? Can you tell us what makes you different or better?
Right. What makes me different is approachability. Kind of some of the things that I was talking about. My opponent, she has a background in the MAGA activist space, and I'm not an activist. And that's one of the problems with our politics is we have individuals who are running for office to further their activist agenda and their activist ambitions. And so if you're there doing activist work, you're not doing representation work. You see, and so that's not what I'm going there for. I'm going there to actually do the work of representing the people, not an ideology, not a MAGA movement, but the actual people who live in the district and who my policies are going to have an impact on. And so my opponent, she came from the activist space. I think she needs to go back in the activist space. I don't think that the office of state rep, elected office, is the next stepping stone so you can push your activist agenda. You have to go there and actually represent the people of the district, even those people who didn't vote for you. And like I said, that's why I did the maternal mortality town hall. This is why I've been doing community outreach and things of that nature. She hasn't. She's kind of been stuck in the MAGA ecosphere. But this is more than just about MAGA. This is more than just about whatever your overarching philosophy is when it comes to how people should live their lives. This is actually about representing people, even those people who don't support you, because that's the job description. Look, I'm a blue collar guy. I look at a job description, either I can do it or I can't do it. And so when I look at the job description of state representative, I can do this, and I'm going to do it when I'm elected.
Okay, we have just a few minutes left, and in these few minutes, can you just leave the people of Henry County and your district with one message about who you are, what you stand for, and what you would want them to remember about you when they head to the polls?
Okay, well, thank you for having me on. It's been a great conversation. I really appreciate it. My name's Mishael White, State House District 81 candidate. And the thing that I want working people of Henry County to know is that as working people, we have something to say. I know how you feel. I know you get out of your bed every day and you go out there in the world and you bust your butt and you play by the rules and you're decent and kind and generous. Yet you still find yourself struggling to make ends meet, to keep a roof over your head and to put food on your table while no one listens to you. And in this election, this campaign, it is our chance to come together, become one, and make our voices heard. That's what the Mishael White movement, that's what the Mishael White campaign is about. That's what I'm going to do in this campaign and when I'm elected. And I look forward to doing District 81 the honor of fighting for them and representing them in 2026 and beyond at the state capitol and getting something done. Thank you for having me.
Well, also, before you go, let the people know how they can support your campaign and where they can find you online.
Absolutely, absolutely. For information about the Mishael White campaign, you can check me out at my website is www.mishaelwhiteforgeorgia.com. You can find me right here on TikTok, Mishael White State House District 81 candidate. You can find me on Instagram at the same handle, and you can find me on Facebook at the same handle. And if you want to give a little jangalang, because I am in fundraising mode. We do need money to win this race, to fight this fight.
Absolutely.
You can go to my website. Again, my website is www.mishaelwhiteforgeorgia.com, and there's a donation link. Click the donation link. Whatever you can afford to give, it would go a long way in helping us to win this race. And I thank you all for listening and for attending, and I thank you for the support.
And we thank you for being here with us this afternoon, Mishael. I really have enjoyed talking to you. This has been so much fun. I know I'm not in the state of Georgia, but I do have family in Georgia, and I'm going to make sure I let them know that there is someone running for House District 8 who is intelligent, hardworking, and will show up for the people, which is most important, that you will show up for the people. We thank you so much for joining us at OVC, and we want to invite you back. If you're available tomorrow, we're having a candidates roundtable, and we're going to be speaking with candidates we have done town halls with in the past, as the graphic comes up here. It'll be tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's tomorrow, Sunday, November 23rd, 2025 at 3 p.m. Eastern. Candidates Roundtable. You are welcome to join us and come talk to us and let more people know about your message and hear from some other candidates who are running for state and federal office. And maybe you guys can kick around some ideas. They're all grassroots candidates as well. So you'll be in good company. And we thank you all in the audience, especially for joining us here this afternoon. Well, it's almost evening here in Ohio. But for OVC, remember, Our Vote Counts is a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity like Mishael White, and ensure every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. Thank you for joining us again. Remember, your vote is your power. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Mishael. Thank you.